had these auctions on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. and it was pretty hot in the summer. Lots of times over 100 by 10 a.m. And one time it rained, and I stopped it rained on auction day, and I stopped at the hardware store and bought some big tarps. And we had some poles, and I said, okay, I got there a few hours early, always to kind of help set up the auction stuff. And I said, okay, we gotta put up, we're gonna have the auction, it's raining. I said, yeah, we're gonna have it. We gotta have it every time or else people won't come. And I think by that time we were having it every other week. And so we had these poles, and I took these old hubcaps and had them weld on the end of the pole a hubcap. We had 4 of them. And then we had a 2-story building, and we nailed the tarp, a couple of the tarps, to the edge of the building. And I had this one guy could dig a hole in the ground, just a hole that big. And I had him dig a hole. We broke through the pavement, asphalt, dug a hole in there, put a bigger pipe, pounded it in the ground, and then the one tall pipe we made a big tent, and that's the one that had the hubcap on. We put it in that hole, and it stood up. And we had 2 more, and then we had guy ropes and the things, and we tied them all back. We had a great big tent, and people came and they liked that. Actually, we did more at that auction than when it didn't rain. More people, they're more serious about coming to buy cars. But we figured out that, and then we put up that tent a few more times, and people were saying, well, it's nice, it's shady here. And so we said, well, we had to figure out something. We thought we'd put up an awning. Some of the other wrecking yards and stuff, they put up an awning to do the cars under, and so I said, okay. And we went to the shredder and got some big steel poles. They were like old light poles and stuff. And I got Ken involved, and he came and kind of engineered it. We got some purlins and some stringers, and went and dug big holes in the pavement in front of the garage right next to the building. And we put up this great big awning with this corrugated stuff. It took we mostly worked on the weekends. It took us a couple of weeks is all to put up this thing. And then we went and bought a spray outfit, this high pressure thing that would get, they call them misters. And we strung that up there the people were cool under there. And so we had the cattle guards around the front of it, and then we built a little house on the other side and made the auction, where the auctioneer was. And we drove through, and that worked pretty good. And we'd come in and then turn left and go between the buildings. And we had the cashier windows, we had the cattle guards, then the cashier windows. And so right after they bid, then we take them over to the cashier window so they put a deposit. Well, that worked good until one day a car was driving in and it had no brakes and no steering. And it ran into the cattle guards. It pushed the cattle guards up against the people and pinned them against the building. And so we had to figure something else out. Luckily no one was hurt. It wasn't going that fast. But then we've got these big cement barriers like they have on the highway, and on that end is where the cement barriers, if the car kept going, it just ran into those barriers. And that happened a few times. It didn't move the barriers. We never drove them that fast.